Game number 2 underway. Welcome, welcome. This is, of course, the finals, the grand finals of the IEM KATOWICE North American qualifiers. This is, of course, not a region-locked tournament, so that's why we got a lot of different players. We had foreigners, we had North Americans, and Koreans alike. But we come down to the finals, and it's got two top-notch Koreans going at it. Iron Rift joined today by Zombie Grub. And spawning in the top left corner of the map is going to be the red Zerg player from JJAKJI. Give it up for HYDRA.
And in the bottom right, as the blue Terran, it is JJAKJI from My Insanity.
Yeah, again, it's a bit of a jaded series because we come into this knowing that HYDRA is from JJAKJI. They got a really great team, good plans, and quite frankly, a lot of luck with qualifiers. But JJAKJI's saying, nope. My Insanity, boys, step aside. Leading the series now 1-0, but it is a best of 5, so it's nowhere close to the end of the day. Now, dataless point, guys, regardless of what happens here, I do need to remind everybody this map has an incredibly short rush distance despite how wide it looks. But more importantly than that, well, we got a drone scout, but not a big deal for now. We have this ramp that was recently changed in a recent patch, so this is no longer such an LOL Zerg map as it once was. I feel it's definitely more problematic for Protoss than most races, but Terrans certainly felt the burn.
This is surprisingly fast drone scout. Probably really worried about a proxy play as I mean,
in previous series, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much why he did it. He's gonna go back home. A lot of Zerg players are saying that you should, just because the threat of S3 is so powerful. But this map's actually been surprisingly a lot of mech games have gone on it. You know, I don't look at this and say like this is a mech map, but it seems like a lot of Terran players are preferring it.
Well, we got the opening of the game. I want to take this time to give a shout out to 13 Prototype. Just subbed to the channel. Thank you very much, sir. Everyone make sure to give him a round of Tasia claps, and don't forget to ace skate on your way out. Of course, today has been a really fun day with a lot of good games, a lot of great players, and it's boiled down to these two. ZVT, I gotta tell you, I can't tell you how happy I am that A, there's no Protoss here right now, but B, that it's not a mirror matchup, more importantly. Because that seems to be the way a lot of these games have been boiling down in recent days, and it's not that I'm sick of them per se, but it's nice to see it finally be something a little bit different. Sure.
We do have a reactor coming out after this Reaper, so he's going to be producing 2 Marines from there until swapping it on later. It's going to be less of a punch, you know, 1 versus 2, but it's mostly for scouting information anyways.
Yeah. Of course, the biggest thing, the greatest fear is to come across the map and see nothing, because it's kind of like, wait, what's happening? There's no such thing as a proxy spawning pool. But actually, I take that back. There was that one game, I'm not sure if you ever saw this, it was like a really Bronze League level match, but like someone did a 6-pool proxy, but it looked like he was AFK at the start of the game mining.
You know, I think I did see that. It was like on a Reddit post or something.
Yeah, it was like from a long time ago, but
yeah.
I mean, that's the only scenario I can think of where you wouldn't have anything down. But for JJAKJI, of course, keeping this Reaper alive for later means 2 things. With the second Reaper coming out, he's probably going to look to do the Hellion push rather than the Banshee push paired with this. Combined with the fact that he actually just lost the SCV on the command center. Or, no, he didn't lose it, but it was forced off due to the links. He's going to be a little bit delayed on what he can do.
This is so weird. Usually you get 2 Marines, not a second Reaper. But that's funny. I feel like a lot of the power of the 2 Reapers is that not that they're ones inside your base dealing damage, but because they pair up with the Hellions well. So why not, I suppose, get that second Reaper even with the faster reactor, because you're for sure not going to be attacked by Lings on your command center now. And you get the second Reaper.
There's still Lings lurking about. Biggest thing for HYDRA, this is a bit of a weird role reversals. Normally, you know, you're the one with Hellions across the map as a Terran player looking to get some map control. HYDRA's kind of looking to do that same role. Have these Lings over here, scare JJAKJI back into his base if Hellions run out too early, and Metabolic Boost is almost finished, so he can chase Reapers, he can chase Hellions. Low amounts of Hellions, not a problem for low amounts of Lings to deal with, but now that he's getting more, and there's actually still going to be Banshees added onto this, it's delayed, but it's still going to be a really powerful push.
Is he going to go for mech again? I mean, I know he's landing the barracks at the front for additional wall off, but
he's leaving enough room for an add-on, though, so maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
See. If it's a tech lab, it's going to be bio for sure.
Right. Again, going for the Banshee opener, and this time with Cloak as well. It's not going to be that super fast layer, although it is still pretty fast. It wasn't 6 minutes, it's more like 750 or 650. I wonder if he's just going to go for faster Mutalisk again.
Well, Lings do slip by the hole in the wall.
Whoa, hey.
A little unfortunate. He lifts up the wall at home. He's going to lose a couple SCVs to this. Maybe the Hellion too, but he's not going to lose the game. And I doubt he'll be forced to lift. In fact, he may even just clean up the Lings without losing Hellions here. So a couple SCVs go down. A little unfortunate. On the other side of the map, Queens are rushing to the front lines to defend. JJAKJI actually can't really fight with this. He needs the Banshee or the additional Hellions with him. 4 Hellions and 2 Reapers is certainly not enough to really comfortably take on 3 Queens.
Yeah. I believe he also saw the starport. That's why he's getting those Spore Crawlers up to be nice and prepared for it. More Hellions are on the way. That brings him up to a total of 8, actually. Another command center as well.
The Banshee is going to make this really powerful. Like, even without Cloak and going to the Queens, will go down very quickly. Now he's got Cloak finishing up, looking to take an engagement on top of these Queens. As we see from one volley from everything, one of the Queens almost dies. No transfuse goes off. There's Lings coming on the low ground. But of course, he's just kiting them back. Queens are just taking some damage from the Hellions, and Overseer's on the way, but no more transfuses available, and the Lings are being kited quite nicely. The Banshee may have gone down, but another Queen falls as well. Dancing with these quite nicely. I'm surprised the Reapers aren't on the front lines. It is the Hellions soaking the damage. A bit of not quite what you want to have happen, but he's getting kills for it nonetheless.
Yep. I still think it's pretty well defended so far by HYDRA. That could have, snowballed really, really fast. In fact, actually gets the Reapers, gets the Hellions, actually. Look at that.
Nice surround. Beautiful surround with those Lings. Double armor's coming down once again, so JJAKJI will be going for his mech style that he likes. Again, this is something that I wouldn't say he's uncomfortable with. He's not unpracticed with it. He's used it in tournaments, but... Ooh. Okay, but never mind. We had Vengeful Sack start for a moment. I was going to say, Hendrilisk actually recently beat JJAKJI not too long ago. Oops, sorry, wrong button there. And one of the ways he did so was with Roach Drops. Caught him off guard, and I don't think he was prepared for it.
But we do see the Spire on the way, so that was quite a mistake. And actually, he did get a tech lab on that barracks, but it's not going to be bio. Odd, but yeah. So much faster layer. Well, actually, not much faster, but still a faster layer than you might be used to. You probably won't have everything quite ready unless he scans, of course. But that was an okay time third, so he wasn't as paranoid. Still getting Widow Mines though.
These Lings are getting a pretty nice surround. I mean, JJAKJI is actually going to clean this up. I thought that was going to go much worse. That looked really bad for a moment. Side note, if you guys have never seen it, I personally think Apocalypse, he might not have the best win record right now for Terran players, but he's got some of my favorite Hellion control where he actually kind of takes the 3 and 3 and like steps them around, and I've seen that be the most effective way, but I've not been able to pull that off myself. That's way too much control.
Actually, I should try doing that. It's only another hotkey. It seems okay.
Yeah, I guess early on we don't have a lot of hotkey groups, or like you don't need Ghosts on Control 2 or something like that, but I mean, I've never seen anyone more effectively deal with Lings getting surrounded than Apocalypse, so small shout out to him as a way to deal with it. But Banshee in the middle of the map will get caught by these couple of reinforcing Mutalisks, unless they're just rallied and not going to attack command, so there we go.
These are pretty regularly timed Mutalisks. I mean, like 11:30, so he actually has a lot of stuff prepared already. I feel like he just didn't get that Spire as he could because he had against that push. Sick.
Ooh, good hits. There's not a lot of aerial defense, but there's 2 more Widow Mines. These Mutalisks getting painted once more. I don't know how that second one was in range, but it gets another kill, so 4 Mutalisks down.
Well, that have the power of the Mutalisk, and now once again he's going for that +1 fire attack, so he will eventually go back into him, but not right now. Actually getting +1 melee. The second Evo Chamber is actually not ready. So yeah, he actually sacrificed upgrades to get what that was going to be faster Mutalisk, and so they come out as a regular time. So not such a good game for HYDRA so far.
Yeah, and he really did have to spend a lot of time dedicating it to dealing with the those Banshees and Hellions dancing around the outside of his base. Lots of Lings were made too, let's not forget, so that's a lot of Larva gone, but looks like looking to prepare into Swarmhost Mutalisk once again. Of course, the Mutalisk part is a little bit harder to execute. As we saw, even players like Solar struggle with it when you take malicious hits from Thors and such, but I'm not sure if JJAKJI's going to play the more Korean style where you go for a lot of tanks and instead not invest in any Ravens whatsoever, or if he's going to go for the more North American / European style where you do get Ravens. I got to tell you, I've seen both, and I'm much more partial towards Ravens. I think they're a little more effective, and between auto turrets and seeker missiles, Mutalisks are not that scary.
We saw innovation on this exact same map going for mech, and he was the one that incorporated Vikings very, very early on. And I felt it was because, transitioning back into Mutalisk was so popular, you need something more than just trying to get enough Thors out. And that's why I'm saying it, because I'm worried that maybe if the game goes on long enough, JJAKJI would actually come under, come into danger because he doesn't have the options available to deal with a tech switch or muta switch after the swarm host pop out.
Now, Mutalisk do peel off the base here because JJAKJI's healings do get scaled by a changeling walking by, and he needs to shut these down. If these get across the map, they're going to cause some damage for sure. They do not have blue flame, but they still do a lot of damage even without it. This mineral line is going to be pulled. Ooh, Hydra lining them up for the Hellions. Not exactly the best way to react to that, but Swarm Host combined with the Zerglings, and these Mutalisks will clean this up. So some workers fried, but nothing too crazy. Of course, the Locusts have now been revealed on top of this. JJAKJI is... His tank count's really low right now. I'm actually really scared about this.
He's producing 3 at a time now, though. So,
yeah.
And his upgrades are actually really, really good. 2-2 versus what would just be 1-1. That's really going to be helpful.
You know, I can't get over those Widow Mines earlier. Like, those were so perfectly placed in these 2 locations.
They were. I guess like you play so many games as a professional player, especially a Korean professional player, that like you just know exactly where the mutas are most likely to go.
Yeah, Thors were waiting on that one too. Just like nope, 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 nope. We got the tunneling claws coming out once again. Roaches are not exactly going to be the strength of this army, but it's a nice go-to on reinforcements if you can catch your opponent off guard. JJAKJI doesn't have a lot of detection on the front lines, and if he is going to play that more Korean style of mech, then he's not going to have Ravens out later on either. The Swarm Hosts are starting to come across the map, but there's a couple Widow Mines, but the Widow Mine cooldown is way too long to deal with Locust Waves effectively, but they do help, and they will keep these back for now.
The splash image, the friendly fire, is actually why you don't get Widow Mines against Swarm Hosts.
Yeah.
As you can see, it actually killed its own Widow Mine with some friendly fire, and it's going to happen again.
Well, as I mentioned, the siege tanks shelling away on top of them too don't help. But you know, Widow Mines are they're really cheap units. They don't cost a lot, and they're not a big investment. But early on, when you don't have a lot of tanks, every bit of splash damage you can get counts. And trying to move up here, Hellbat's gonna be sacrificed into this first Locust wave, but with Blue Flame, they'll clean them up really quickly. And this is again that very, very aggressive style of playing mech. Tanks are a little bit further behind, though. He can't get too far ahead of himself because there's not enough Hellbats here to deal with a Locust wave entirely on their own. He needs the siege tank fire. So yeah, he's just
Plus
gonna run
the
away from this.
roaches. What are you doing, Swarm? Oh, the Swarm was being carried by the Locust again. I love when that happens.
It's such a silly thing to watch. It's like, Mom, we don't want you to let us go. Come with us.
I guess JJAKJI will not be pushing forward to just kind of faking it to get that 4th up. Although I actually think he could have done something. He just isn't, like, that seemed like an awful low amount of Swarm Host probably, and he's like, okay, where are the roaches? And, well, there they are.
I don't know, does Sensor Tower see Brood units? I've never actually tried this on Brood Roaches, so I don't know, but...
No.
Locust continuing to push forward here. He's got some turrets coming down, so detection is going to be an option, and this was becoming a planetary, then he canceled it into an orbital, and he might regret that decision here in a few moments.
You know, I actually like this a lot more than a planetary. Against Swarm Hosts, if they're going to line up against a planetary, they're going to kill it. But if you can lift it off, then at least you save it.
Yeah, but
as opposed to just giving it up.
The idea of a planetary, though, it's more about like stopping Ling Run bys or low amounts of roaches from picking you off. Right?
Well,
Like it's...
yeah, but put 2 Hellbats there and the Ling Run bys don't matter. Roach Run bys will still, but I actually really appreciate the lack of a planetary fortress in this case.
Well, the roaches do back up for now. Swarm Host going to keep applying a little bit of pressure. The thing for the roaches and the Swarm Host too, guys, like, these aren't trying to end the game anytime soon. They're just trying to pressure JJAKJI and make sure he doesn't get too comfortable. And of course, for a Terran player on a map like Daedalus Point, you have to split your army and your attention so vastly. That's why we see 4 freaking sensor towers down. He needs to know where to be at all times. He has to react before the army is there.
Well, Hydra is really taking the
shark
entire
attack.
map. Ooh,
Oh, he's going to come
God.
right on top of the tanks.
Oh my God.
Okay,
wow.
well, the Hellbats are going to do a ton of damage, actually. This is not that scary, but he will take out a majority of the tanks, and in doing so, allow the Swarm Host follow-up to be a little more effective. Now with only 5 tanks and a couple of Hellbats, I don't know if he can actually keep off the Swarm Host wave indefinitely. He needs to reinforce this as soon as possible. Meanwhile, melee upgrades, ranged upgrades level 3 on the way, and a Broodlord, or sorry, not Broodlord, a Greater Spire on the way for eventual Broodlords. But for now, it's going to be 18 Mutalisks.
We do have finally Ravens coming out as well, so JJAKJI really planning on the long game, and also, hey, it's going to help out against those burrowed roaches, although Hydra makes 20 mutas instead. There goes that tech switch, but the Vikings are very appropriately timed. He started building them maybe 2 minutes ago, and they're going to be very helpful in helping out against this tech switch.
It's worth knowing, too, the creep is on JJAKJI's doorstep, so while he might not be losing map control, he certainly doesn't have it himself. He can't quite keep it back, and HYDRA's just taking all the bases behind this, which for now is fine. It's appropriate. What, you know, I almost wish players would start taking drones off their third right now, leave it not mining at all, and come back to this later on when you can't secure that 7th or 6th base. Because, I mean, let's be honest, how many times do you see, like, this base get picked off and then whatever, you've got no money because you've mined out your third late on?
Yeah, actually, I kind of agree right there. Lots of Mutilas come in, kind of a surprise attack, although Sensor Tower did give him some advance notice.
Couple Seeker missiles.
Seeker missile!
These units are clumped.
Oh,
He's trying to split them. Oh, he splits them at the last possible second. That could have been very deadly as these Mutilas are not quite dead. They're really low. Meanwhile, I got Swarm Hosts continuing to pressure over here. A couple Swarm Hosts actually walking over there. Wait, did he just sacrifice all of his Swarm Hosts? I think that was a huge misclick. Hang on, where are the units?
13 Swarm Hosts dead.
Yeah,
he must have just been rallied. He just,
no.
Wow.
That's a huge mistake out of HYDRA. A huge mistake, because that wasn't to clean up supply, guys. You need these Swarm Hosts. They're supposed to constantly apply pressure in an area that, you know, you don't have to worry about. Now he's got a lot of Mutilas, sure, but, like, that's going to last. That sting is going to burn for a while. Down to 54 supply. Without those free units, these Hellion Rumbies aren't going to end the game, but man, this is not easy for HYDRA to make up that difference when you do that. 14 more Swarm Hosts on the way to replace this. But of course, he would have loved if each of those had been like a Mutalisk or a Corruptor or a Broodlord.
Yeah, so very, very key in what he's doing is having those Swarm Hosts. He's kicking himself in the head for losing. Unluckily, he had enough of a bank to replenish, but that is a bank that is no longer there for later. Don't think it's going to matter, as it seems we're going in for the long haul here. Muta's coming back in again. I would really like to see more Widow Mines, honestly, because he refuses to bring an Overseer with him.
Point of defense go down. Oh god, the Mutalisk! Oh god, that Thor hit!
HYDRA's making I feel like rookie mistakes. He overstayed his welcome way too long over there, and now what does he have? Like, I guess he has a Swarm Host he just made, but that's not a whole lot.
That's so much gas wasted between the Swarm Hosts and the Mutalisk. Such gas-intensive units. He's going for 5 Ultralisks right now, Zombie Grub, but even with that Armor Carapace upgrade, what support does he have for them? The idea behind Ultralisks is you never go pure Ultralisks. I have yet to see a player win by just going Ultralisks. You need an Element X to add next to them.
Yeah. You know, it is, again, a surprisingly small ground army because a lot of the supply is in Vikings. That's kind of where I think his thinking is coming in. You know, I don't have to care about the Vikings this way, but actually with the Lings, I kind of like it. There's no Hellbats. Thors and tanks cannot deal with Lings and Ultralisk. This might be the correct switch to save his bases, although he has a lot to give, so it's okay if he loses this one.
Auto turrets aren't going to quite cut it either. With the Locusts coming in too, those are going to soak some of the hits. Of course, you'd much rather have the Ultralisk soak the hits so the Swarm Hosts can get their DPS in there, but for now, it looks like this base down here is going to have to be yielded, but that's okay. He's got this northern base. JJAKJI, in the meantime, has somehow also secured the northern base. A scenario that HYDRA should have honestly probably never let happen. He's looking to posture into it, and that's where the Ultralisks are towards the north. He's going to pick off a couple of siege tanks down here. I believe the Zerglings do have Adrenal Glands. Yes, they do have Adrenal Glands, so they got that faster attack, but only level 1 upgrades versus +3 armor on mech. Okay, good luck. Couple Widow Mines going to go off, and he's just going to start picking up units where and when he can. There's a planetary here. This is probably not going to go down too quickly if you repair, so going for the SCVs might be what HYDRA needs to do instead. The army of JJAKJI, though, this is drawing the attention backwards, so he may have just lost 2 bases in the lower left, but he's not able to continue pursuing the 4th one.
Yeah, and he's going to get 2 bases himself when he gets that planetary, all those SCVs, and all the SCVs of the 3rd as well, which is a lot of liftoffs. This is a very good counterattack from HYDRA. They're both going back to just, well, actually, no, HYDRA's still on 5, so never mind. JJAKJI still has a very powerful army, though. None of that died.
Landed! It's the Heart of the Swarm cinematic! And it's working! Of course, the Ultras are busy shooting the auto turrets because auto turrets basically have a almost built-in taunt mechanic, I guess you could say. They just have really high priority targeting systems, so any units A-moving will shoot the auto turrets before anything else. A couple things going to be given away for free. Donating is JJAKJI feeling generous. I'm ahead, have some for free.
I don't know how ahead he is anymore, honestly. He still has a nice bank, although HYDRA actually has a really good gas bank.
I think he's in not too bad of a spot, because HYDRA just lost a lot pushing into that. He's remaxing on Ultralisk, but that's the difference of like having the bank now versus having the bank for later, right? So there's so many siege tanks, I don't know if he can really push in and win. Point defense drones need to come down, I feel. He's going to take a bit of heat. Never mind. Siege tanks unsieged apparently attack fast enough to clean up locust waves without the assistance of a point defense drone. That's pretty cool to see.
It's also one of the things that everyone just forgets. I really do like the incorporation of those point defense drones, though, when we see them. Also switching into, I don't want to say mass Banshees, but a lot of Banshees, anyways, 2 at a time.
Banshees aren't so great against Ultras. A lot of people overvalue their DPS. I mean...
I think they're for the Swarm hosts, actually.
If that's the case, then that's a good idea, but perhaps we'll see what you get used out of them. Actually, I was talking about the other day on stream. I really like the way Cross was handling his mech, where he was throwing down the auto turrets mixed in with the point defense drones. Literally have not seen another player do that, but I thought it was like the most effective way I've seen anyone deal with Swarm hosts.
Again, Ultra's going for that base above, and I really feel like he's just not going to be able to have it. Like, JJAKJI, this is not a map where you can get 6 bases and calmly like split the map in half. It's just, it doesn't work that way.
It's way difficult to pull off, but Ultra's going to be in full retreat. There's so many of them. How many queens are left on the map is a big question, because he's going to want some transfuse. The answer is only 4, sadly.
Ooh, this is a lot of tanks going up against these Ultralisk, and the Ultralisk, oh, they're getting some surface area. There's still a whole other range of tanks behind it, and actually, I think that was a decent trade. Well, actually, looking at the supply, maybe not. HYDRA, what are you going to remax on?
You know what? That actually may have been a better trade than anticipated, though. JJAKJI doesn't have a lot of gas to make 14 more tanks, whereas HYDRA can make all those Ultras once again.
Look at I mean, 7 Ultralists, though. I don't know if I really like this Ultralist thing. If there's one unit that brings you out of a game you're in a good situation or even ahead of, it's an Ultralisk, right? Like, his supply finally does, rocket up again because Ultralisk are a lot of supply, and also mixing in Infestors, I really like that, to deal with the Banshees, the Ravens, and the Vikings all together, because he actually has no anti-air.
I know, combine like these units clump. I mean, just look at this. JJAKJI just moving around the map. These units clump. You land like 1 or 2 good fungals. Rest in peace, air army. There's so many Banshees incorporated with this. There's so many Vikings incorporated with this. HYDRA's trying to take a base, and this is where, this is what I was talking about earlier, guys. He's forced to take these very risky mining bases because his third's mined out. His natural's gone, and his main, of course, is long gone. He might have gas, but as Zombie pointed out, not a lot of minerals. Neither player... Well, actually, HYDRA's not able to max out, but JJAKJI, I think, comfortably can, because he can always make a ton of Hellbats, right?
Yeah. We do have to remember that a lot of that supply is in that air army, and the Vikings aren't too useful. Everything else is pretty useful, but the Vikings really aren't.
There's the first fungal to go out. I'm a little bit worried here for HYDRA. I'm not going to lie coming into this fight, but he's getting some good fungals. Queen's going to add into this. Point defense drone is going to keep him alive for a little bit longer, but the siege tanks will keep the infestors back. Fungal growth damage is the only thing hurting these units right now, and looks like that's not going to quite be enough. A couple of these Ravens might crumble right here, but realistically, the ground army perseveres, and that's what matters the most. Nothing to stop this pushing. Another fungal goes down out of desperation, but quite frankly, HYDRA, just going to have to tap out here. JJAKJI leading the series now 2-0 in this best of 5 finals.
I was like, the first Ultralisk, that was pretty good. Took down the Planetary, and the Ling Rombo was also really good. Second Ultralisk, and the third Ultralisk swell was like, I don't like that at all, but...
Yeah, that thing, it didn't look so much like it, but I do feel like that game was a little more back and forth than it should have, been made obvious, if that makes sense. Like, the trading for bases was great. HYDRA never really had the tunnel vision too much, and JJAKJI wasn't able to push out and win. I just feel like it was his trades that have ended up just slowly snowballing out of control. But anyways, third map is going to be Yansu, guys. We're going to get this hosted up real quick.